What's going on, everybody? This is Budmaster, and we are starting out our podcast today, and this will be our first episode. With me here today is my co-host King Cobra. King Cobra, how are you doing today, big fella? How are you doing today?
I'm doing excellent, Budmaster. How are you doing?
Doing okay. So, kind of go over what this podcast is gonna be over. This is gonna be more about just about anything, really. Anything about ordinary people will think about. It's politics, music, whatever. Whatever goes. That's kind of like our name, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much anything 18 to 35-year-old male will talk about, we're going to discuss here, and we're going to try to do in a very critical, authentic way and sort of a philosophical way, without being experts in philosophy.
Okay.
So that's our main goal. What music have you been listening to, Bud Master?
Music lately. I just actually started listening to this band this week called Brand New. I've been meaning to listen to them for a while, but I just never had a chance to listen to them. And they're good. Their lyrics are good and they're kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm not really familiar with the band. What kind of music do they play?
They, if you kind of know the alternative rock scene, that's the kind of music they play. If you know bands like Taking Back Sunday or Blink 182 or whatever, that's the kind of music they play. Just regular rock, I guess. They got their guitar riffs and all that stuff, and it's nice. The lyrics is what really attracts me to their sort of style, because they're pretty honest, and the lead singer, I guess his name is Jesse Lacey or something like that, and the way his voice and the lyrics kind of incorporate really well with each other, brings out the true feelings and stuff like that. It's kind of cool. So, what have you been listening to lately?
You know me, man. I mainly listen to Pandora. My main subsection of music is Led Zeppelin, classical music, classic rock, as well as, I guess, I don't know how you would characterize System of a Down, but New Age rock as well.
Yeah. I know you got a wide range of sort of music style, don't you? You like the classic rock, or not classic rock, but classical. Like whenever we drive around, I know you play that shit, and you've been in school in the band, and
Yeah, I mean, I have a healthy appreciation for classical music. When I used to commute to college, my first semester, I rented audio CDs from the library, and they were like the 50 greatest composers. So my commute was like a half an hour, so I would finish like a CD a day. So I would know everything about Beethoven, Berlioz, and all that.
How about you?
I actually like French composers a lot from the Romantic period, such as Berlioz, Symphonie Fantastique. The Georgia Bulldogs, they play it during their
cool, man.
football games and everything. Well, I know you like to listen to Radiohead, and you're planning on going to their concert this summer. So tell me, I mean, I'm also going to go with you to the concert.
Yeah, we're both going to go, right? Awesome.
We'll both go there, and we'll both
have shitty seats probably in the back.
both won't be able to enjoy the concert with our terrible seats. Yeah. But
nevertheless, Radiohead. So
tell me what you like about them, and what makes them different compared to other bands that you like.
The thing is, Radiohead, like it's kind of different because they started out as like just a regular punk band or whatever. This was back in '80s, and then they changed they kept on evolving over time. Like not no two albums by them are like the same. It's like they have like about 7 albums released, and all of them are kind of different to each other. And I like how they sort of went from like sort of like regular punk to in like the first album to like something like more electronics, like experimental sort of thing. So they have and even like the lyrics are really Thom Yorke, the lead singer, the lead songwriter, he's a really good songwriter. He his lyrics are pretty emotional, and a lot of people think it's like emo or whatever. It's really not if you're into that kind of music. And the meanings of the songs are like kind of different, because it sort of have like 2 different meanings. You can interpret whichever way that you want. It's
would you say their music has a sort of an edge to it, or is it more romantic in their?
More, to me, it's more romantic. Some songs actually do have an edge, but not many. Most of them are like kind of, sort of like emotional, but also in the sense that they incorporate wide variety of music that, it's kind of really cool when you all put them all together with Tom York's lyrics and voice in it. It's really, kind of revolutionary. I don't want to make it sound like, the best thing ever or whatever, but definitely in the 2000s, in the 1990s, they were probably the best band. To me, they were probably the best band.
Any songs in particular that you would say are truly original and revolutionized that particular genre?
Yeah, like several songs. I don't know about particular genre, but truly the whole album of OK Computer, which was released, I think it was in 1997, was probably the most revolutionary, sort of like the best sort of album that was released in 1990s. It was just so different because the theme of the album was more about, how the computers and the machines are taking over the, world, and how they are doing the work that people were, used to do. Yeah. And stuff like that. And it from the start to finish, if you listen to it, and it's really, it really gets down to it, like to the fact that, the first song I've ever listened to that really got me into Radiohead was a song called Let Down, which was the 5th track of the album. And it's just, it has a melody of like really happy, but when you start listening to the lyrics, it's like really, somber, sad, sort of downer song. That's like most of the Radiohead songs in that album, particularly. It's just kind of one of those things, man. I mean,
okay, if someone doesn't appreciate Radiohead, for example, if someone just listens to it for the first time and they don't like it, what would you say to them to help them appreciate the songs, in particular the Computer album or whatever songs that you mentioned?
Okay, Computer album, yeah.
How would you tell them to
it actually
enjoy?
Happened to me too. Several songs from radio I didn't really like at the beginning, and all you can do is kind of keep listening to it. You get the hang of it. Eventually, third or fourth listen, you're like, oh, I get this stuff, and you start appreciating more. That's the only way. Like I used to listen to just regular rock songs on the radio. That was on the radio, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously radio never gets played on any of the radio stations.
Yeah.
So you kind of start getting used to the other types of alternative sort of music, and you start appreciating them. And you realize at one point, this kind of music is a whole lot better. Obviously it's a perspective, but musically more, rich than what you hear on top 40 radio or whatever.
I mean, that's interesting that you said, there was a particular song that you didn't like, and then after 4 or 5 times you appreciated it more. Mm-hmm. Would you say that's how it works for your music taste? First you like some music in the beginning, that's easy, and then over time as you mature and you develop different tastes, would you say your music taste becomes better? Or, for example, you started listening to, what was the first band you started listening to?
First band, probably Yellow Card, Blink-182.
Yellow Card, Blink-182.
14.
Would you say their musicality is better? Would you say Radiohead is better?
If I'm comparing them as far as lyrics and musical richness,
yeah,
I don't know if that's a word. Is it? Richness?
Yes, probably I'm not. Sure richness, Bill Gates' richness is more than mine.
As if I compare those things, then I would definitely say Radiohead is musically far more evolved, sort of. They're more, to me, they're better. And I kind of want to say something else. It's that, when I listen to a band or something, I know you have a wide variety of stuff, on your Pandora station I've seen, you kind of listen to classical, then you got your 70s rock, and you got your System of a Down kind of rock, new age rock. Like me, I don't listen to a whole lot of that stuff. When I start listening to, sometimes I just listen to music and do nothing else, and it's if I'm starting, right now, I'm starting listening to brand new, I'm going to listen to, all their CDs. And, I read their Wikipedia page, go on, lyric songs, lyric websites or whatever.
So you do more
research, and I try to really get into it. And that's why I say when you, keep on listening to it, you just get it. And now I look at, the stuff I used to listen, 5-6 years ago, I'm like, that was stupid,
So what you're telling me is, as a freshman in high school, would not have appreciated Radiohead?
Well, if I had found them out, then maybe I could have started liking a whole different genre of music and not go with the whole alternative rock route,
Okay.
But I don't know what I would have done.
That's interesting. Okay, then by the time you're 30, would you say you would do you still think you would think the same of Radiohead as you do now, or do you think it would change?
It will probably change, but as far my favorite band still, I would say Blink-182, because that's the band that kind of got me into the whole music. I wasn't a big fan of music before I started listening to them. They're usually people take them as some kind of jokers, but they're really not if you listen to all their songs. They have some lots of serious songs too. And to me, I will still love Radiohead when I'm 30. I will still love Blink-182. I will still appreciate their music.
Yeah.
But as far as if I look at them the same way, it might be different, but I don't think it's going to be a bad way.
Okay.
But I don't, at the same time, I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah.
Okay. Very cool, man.
Yeah.
So I know we're both big sports fans and everything, especially NFL football. We watch it, particularly next week, this following week, the NFL draft is coming up. So are you excited about the draft?
Well, I didn't really find out about the draft until early this week. I saw on ESPN that Colts were going to draft Andrew Luck for sure. So I'm not really, up to date on the whole who's going to go for. I know who's going to go first, but who's going to go top 10 or anything. But yeah, man. I mean, I'll be watching it. I'll be enjoying it, doing my thing.
Well, I have a problem with the draft because it rewards terrible teams. In the sense, the Indianapolis Colts were terrible. The management was terrible. They didn't have a proper backup quarterback, and then they lost so many games. And now we're going to reward them with the best, quarterback possible.
Yeah.
Would you like a system in which is like the current draft, in which teams choose the player? Or would you be more interested in a system like the English Premier League soccer, where players can freely sign with whatever team they want, depending upon their cap space and everything?
I don't think neither systems will be perfect.
Okay.
Like right now, it makes sense if you wanna in NFL. It makes sense the worst team from last year picks the best player.
Mm-hmm.
If that team is truly their team, their aim is to get better, spend more money, and actually win a championship, which, a team like Cincinnati Bengals are not, okay? With all due respect to Mike Brown, you're not a serious CEO, okay? You're not. Your first priority is make money and not win a championship. It really is what it is, okay? That makes sense. Like, if Cincinnati Bengals were the worst team last year, I wouldn't want them. I don't think it'd be fair for that best player in this draft to have to sign with Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay.
It really wouldn't be.
Yeah.
I think what should be something. It should be something like, and on the other part in the English Premier League is that, maybe you want to sign with your favorite team, and maybe the lower whatever the team. I don't know, who tell me one of the lower, less known
Wigan.
small market.
I think Wigan was
who would want to sign with a star player wouldn't maybe not want to sign with them. You don't know. I mean,
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, everyone wanted to go to Manchester United, Manchester City, Chelsea, Liverpool, whatever.
Okay.
And that problem. I think there's a problem with in English Premier League is that I think more in the last 10 years, if you look at the teams that won the championship, it's 3 or 4 teams. That's it. And I think NFL does a lot better job than that.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly greater parity
Mm-hmm.
in the NFL. Anything, obviously, at the same time, when there's an owner like Mike Brown, hasn't won a playoff game since being the Bengals manager since 1990.
Yeah,
so I don't want. I mean, I want him to not take the easy route and just be able to draft the best player. I want him to be able to convince people and start building around the Bengals so it attracts. So he has more of an incentive to make the Bengals better, thus, getting better players and everything if they follow the EPL draft. But I understand what you're saying. Both systems are flawed and everything.
I think what should be is that something like this. I just came up with it, actually, so it might not be perfect.
Okay, well, breaking news, everybody. This is
this is some serious shit. I'm gonna go ahead and get a patent for this one right here, this idea, if it's possible. So I have a copyright on this. But anyway, the idea is that maybe the worst team picks the best player or whatever. But if that player doesn't want to sign with you, then he's a free agent, pretty much, something like that. Then other teams can counter.
That's interesting.
That's something
they can offer him more money.
But
for example, the Indianapolis Colts can select Andrew Luck, and they can offer him more money than anybody else. But if he chooses not to sign with him and sign with another team, he can, but he cannot get as much money.
Something like that along the way.
Okay, that's interesting.
Where the player has his own choice. Because, I mean, look at Carson Palmer. Had, bright future ahead of him. The whole he was picked first, and his career was pretty much ruined, and now, plays for Oakland, shitty team. Anyway, he could have, if he had a choice, I don't think he would have signed with Cincinnati Bengals. I just don't think that's going to be the thing.
I don't think a lot of people would sign. We would have to overpay everybody, from our kickers to our placeholders and everything.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely the draft is next week, so I'm kind of looking forward to it. I'm sure we'll watch it.
I'm excited as well, and that's it. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to our conversation. I promise this will get better as we progress, and we'll have articles. We'll go deeper into topics as we gain knowledge ourselves. We're still young, so we're reading books and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, this podcast is mostly going to be about sports and kind of music sort of thing.
If you listen to us in 10 years, you'll truly get a sense of how we progressed as human beings.
You can see how Radiohead progressed, how we're going to progress, just like that. We're going to get into some electronic shit in here, man.
We'll put some articles up there that we find interesting about music and everything. So thanks again for listening. We'll put cool videos and everything. Okay, talk to you later then.
Goodbye. See ya. Peace out.